Hello and welcome. In this tutorial, we will explore how to use Rigidbody in Unity to add physics to your game objects. What is Rigidbody? In Unity, a rigid body is a physics component that allows game objects to behave realistically under the influence of gravity, forces, and collisions. It is essential for any object that needs physics-based movement, such as characters, vehicles, projectiles, or falling objects. Why do we use Rigidbody? By default, Unity objects do not react to physics. If you want an object to fall, bounce, roll, or be pushed, you need to attach a Rigidbody component. This allows Unity's physics engine to handle movement and interactions automatically, making your game feel more dynamic and realistic. Key features of Rigidbody. Gravity. When enabled, the object falls naturally. Forces. You can apply forces to make objects move, jump, or collide. Drag controls how quickly an object slows down in motion. Mass affects how heavy the object feels in physics calculations. Collisions works with colliders to detect and to respond to impacts. Kinematic mode disables automatic physics, allowing manual movement. Common uses of Rigidbody in games, characters, player movement using physics-based controls. Vehicles, cars, bikes, and boats that follow realistic motion. Projectiles, bullets, arrows, or bouncing balls. Physics puzzles, falling objects, ramps, and pushable crates. How to add a Rigidbody component? Let's create an object in Unity and add a Rigidbody component. In the hierarchy window, create a cube or sphere. Go to the Inspector panel and click Add Component. Search for Rigidbody and add it. Now, our object will fall due to gravity. Understanding Rigidbody properties. When we add a Rigidbody component, several important settings appear. Let's take a look. Mass determines the weight of the object. Drag controls how quickly the object slows down while moving. Angular drag affects how quickly rotational movement slows down. Use gravity. If unchecked, the object will not be affected by gravity. Let's test it. Our object will fall due to gravity. Applying forces using Rigidbody with code. Now, let's see how we can control Rigidbody using C# code. Here, we create a variable RB to store our Rigidbody component. This line finds the Rigidbody component attached to our object and assigns it to RB. Without this, Unity won't know which Rigidbody we're trying to control. Applying force, vector3.forward moves the object in the z-axis forward direction. 50F is the force amount we're applying. The object will start moving immediately when the game begins. Running the game and testing. Now, let's save the script, go back to Unity, and press play. Our object moves forward automatically because add force applies an initial push when the game starts. Now, let's apply force to move our sphere to the right at a higher speed. Instead of using vector3.forward, we'll switch to vector3.right and increase the force value. This will make our object move faster in the right direction. If we want, we can restrict our object's rotation and position to prevent unwanted movement. This is useful when we only want the object to move in a specific direction without tilting or changing its height. Let's see how we can do this in Unity. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.